and Earl.
Afternoon, everybody. This is Mike Ash. What a beautiful day out there today. And I'll tell you, the write-up was really nice. Today's a special day. We're going to try something that I think it's important with the time of the year. We're getting closer to Christmas, and I'm thinking about space. And we've already used the first floor to some degree, and we never discussed the basement.
And that's where Santa lands, Mike. He doesn't land on the roof this year. He comes in through the basement window.
That's right. He
Very
wants to make
nice.
sure he sees us all being...
Sneaking around. He's coming in from underneath.
He knows what we're doing.
All right, so we're going to do basements today, Mike, huh?
I think it's important
We
because
don't,
after this weekend, seeing where I was, and they could have utilized more space.
Okay, well, that's thinking inside the box. And
Sometimes we're in, sometimes we're out.
outside of the box, we were thinking of the sheds, Mike. There was some shed space.
Shed work is pretty good, too.
We'll talk about sheds at another
Some
point.
people are still scared of the shed, because
when
of
Bill
branches.
arrives,
He'll be scared also.
we have a new co-host coming in today.
Bill's great.
Bill Barshow. He's
Long
going
time.
to be. He was a little enthusiastic about a party we went to where the shed doubled as a family room, great room / party room. So we were going to take off on that, but since he's not here, we're going to do the basements. We're going to talk about finishing off your basement, Mike.
Do something with it except not waste
inside
space,
the box.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let's get started, Mike. Let's see. What do we do? Let's take it. Let's use the same equation that we used with the home improvement project, and try and overlay that into a basement project. So the first steps is if somebody's thinking about their basement and they have now downstairs, what do they have? Just a boiler, a furnace, and some concrete blocks, some
verticals, concrete basement floor, some sheetrock that looks spackled but never finished off well.
Some water leaks, perhaps.
I don't know. How's that look?
It was some pipes exposed, hanging down off the ceiling. Tons of pipes.
Boilers exposed. Hot water heaters exposed.
Electrical wires, perhaps.
Maybe nicely
stapled.
pinned.
Yeah, hopefully.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
So
there's
a
a lot of things. There's a lot of things.
Basement.
So what do you think we should do first, Mike?
Depends what you want to use the basement for.
Okay, so define what will we do down there.
There's a couple of choices. Do you want to increase living space? Do you need an entertainment area? Do you need a living space as far as a bedroom and bathroom and small kitchen? Is your in-laws moving in? Are you at a point in life where the kids need an entertainment area other than your living room so that you can breathe and read a book once in a while?
Nice. A library, a bibliothèque.
You need a place for yourself, and the kids need a place for themselves also.
How about a media room, Mike?
Ooh, a media room is great when the kids get older.
Theaters,
I love that
home
stuff.
theaters.
They really do. But it all depends
Bowling
what
alleys,
you need.
Mike. Bowling alleys, depending on.
It doesn't take up that much space for
They
a
have the
single
little-
lane.
right,
I gotta
they
tell
have-
you, it
yeah.
really doesn't. It's the changer at the end you got to worry about.
What else have we done? And lap pools. Some lap pools we've put actually small swimming.
I like a small pool with
Right.
that motor that blows the current towards you, so you have to work against current.
So we have many options, Mike.
Yes, depends on your needs, I always say. But in any case, to waste a basement is like you're being billed for that space, and you're being charged for it on a regular basis of everything you do, taxes, everything. And not to utilize it is really foolish, except for a washer and dryer, if you do that at all. So let's assume you want to now divide that basement into 3 living spaces, 3 areas, let's call it.
Well, who do you call first?
That's a good question.
Who do you call? Or do you sketch? Do you put some ideas yourself
I
down
think
on
most
paper, Mike?
people have no idea, except they'll come with you with an idea,
So
especially in
most-
your end.
Right, they verbally, they know they want a weight room or a workout area. They want to have a family area for their kids.
One way or the other, right.
Right.
I have a son right now who has one boy and another one on the way, thank God. And he's at a point now where he needs to increase his space. Why? I used to come up and have my own bedroom. The kid has a bedroom, but I'm using the second kid's bedroom. So where am I going to stay, Lee?
The shed.
I hope
Now
not.
you know why we have to have
There's
a shed
no heat
show.
out there. I don't want to start cracking
Oh,
the
there's
car.
heat. There's TVs. There's refrigerators. There's cook surfaces.
I know,
But that's another
that's
show.
another show, right?
So I guess you have to go to the basement, Mike.
Right. So I've told him now that, what do you need? He says, well, I've got to create a situation where someone can live downstairs. I like to work out with weights. I'd like to have an entertainment area. So by the time we got done with it, it was dividing in 3 different sections.
Nice.
So you have to think about this furnace system and the heating system. How
It's
do you wanna
already
do-
there in a certain location.
Do you want to cover it? Do you want to enclose
You're not
it? Do you wanna
moving it.
box
You're going to leave it where it is.
You have no choice. You're leaving it. It's crazy. You have the ceiling to deal with to hide the pipes. You
No
might wanna-
moving any pipes or anything. Again, just leaving everything, trying to work around.
Hopefully that's all.
what's there.
You
Okay.
might want to bring some electric into the room. You
Right.
might want
New
to bring
outlets
some
and
additional
lighting.
heat or air conditioning into the room.
And duct work. Okay.
Okay, so that all has to be done mechanically first.
So a lot of things, a lot of prep has to go into that.
More than the finished product.
Right, more than the finished product. So
because basements are a little different, I'll tell you why. There are ways of dividing the basement in sections with poles in the way.
correct.
You don't have to remove all those poles entirely out. You can then create some type of header that'll carry the load between two poles where there were originally three.
Right, eliminate one piece of that structural, the column there that's holding up the house.
And that's usually, I remember on one of the last ones we did, we took out two of them in the basement.
Now, Mike, hold on. Let's, for people that don't know that. So when you remove these columns, what you have above that is a piece of structure that's called a girder, and that is supporting structurally the main floor and the second floor of your house. So when you tell people you want to remove one of these, sometimes there's panic, Mike. So you have to think. You have to, right. So
I'll
you
make
have to
it worse than
explain,
that.
right?
I'll make it even tougher than that. Let's say you're taking out a post, and you now have a kitchen above one of the posts, and that post is now dealing with a ceramic floor in the kitchen. And you know that in order to take out a post, you got to kind of flex that horizontal piece a little higher before you
crown. That's called the crown.
Oh, is that what
right?
crown?
Yes,
before
right.
you take that post out.
That's right. So you have to put it up on the reverse side because you know it's going to come down a little bit because of the weight, the extra weight of the ceramic.
And you got ceramic up there. Hopefully, you're not looking to crack anything.
That's right. So you have
It's not a do-it-yourself type of
right,
project.
and it's something that's you have to be very, very slow and methodical with the replacement of that.
You know, that's one of those jobs you have to really be careful with because to lose the floor upstairs will be too costly.
Then that's no good because we as contractors would have to then retile that job, Mike.
I wouldn't be happy, so
That's
I'm making sure this job's going up nicely.
Okay, so if we remove these columns, we're going to replace it with either a wood beam, which is a composite beam, a micro lam or a glue lam, or a composite of steel and wood, or an I-beam.
I would think the architect would normally get involved at this point.
Right, so if you're going to do something like that, it's important to have the architect involved.
Because someone's got to determine the weight exchange that's necessary.
Let's go back a step then, Mike, now. So we've got all our concepts together again, and now we call up either the architect. Of course, that would be me.
I didn't think of anyone else.
I was thinking of somebody else.
What's your name again?
Or you would call up Billy now, who's going to be working with American Design and Build, and you would be getting a team of architect and builder with American Design and Build. So either way, you would have somebody who is a design professional who is able to sit there with you now with your ideas and talk to you intelligently about your budget. Again, so you have your ideas and budget, and you say we have a basement that's 28 by 35, let's say. We have a staircase coming down. We have a furnace, like Mike says. We have some overhead pipes and electrical conduits and cables and telephone wires.
And a ping pong table, maybe.
We have a ping pong table. We have Grandma's old piano down there and a few other things we have to remove. Right. And we want to get started. So the first steps was to come up with your ideas and a budget. The next is to sit down with your design professional or design build team and draw up some sort of conceptual plans as to what you want to do based on your budget.
Make this a reality on paper now.
And that, at that point, can also be bid by other builders because now you have a diagram of what you're trying to do. Also, you may be thinking of doing something and your budget doesn't meet that. So the design professional will...
Sometimes you have to curtail some of your ideas in order to fit the first phase of the budget.
That's right. So your design professional or design team would advise you accordingly that either the budget needs to be increased or the budget is fine.
I'll give you a good example. Let's say we're going to divide this in three pieces.
Are we putting a bathroom in, Mike? This is always a big one.
I need a bathroom in the basement.
We tell people that all the time.
You know the difference between regular stairs and basement stairs? Basement stairs have more steps.
That's only because you have to get to the bathroom upstairs, Mike.
I'm telling you, I don't want to go upstairs to the bathroom. So we're putting a bathroom on this job. I want a bathtub, I want a toilet, and I want a vanity.
That's right. I agree. We always tell, even if it costs a little extra, sometimes...
Let's do it now.
Sometimes people don't have a gravity feed, which means you can tie directly in. So the bathrooms in the basement have a minimum fee based on an ejection pump that's being put in and installed. And then the three
That's done by a plumber.
Right.
Okay, he's going to be digging a pump that collects with no smells, no odors, in an enclosed capsule that collects from the toilet, and then we'll pump it up to the basic system.
The system. And sometimes they grind it. Sometimes it's a grinder pump.
I don't care what they do with it.
We're going to take a break right now. We are looking for your calls about your basement home improvement project. 651-1110. Lee and Mike.
Afternoon again, it's Mike Ash. Welcome back to the ABCs of Home Improvement. Today we're talking about the space that no one seems to appreciate, the basement, and what to do with it and how to add additional living space that you're being charged for currently.
That's right, Mike. And where were we? We were up to the designing part.
Yeah, we kind of phased in a 3-section in the basement. We're going to be utilizing the space downstairs to, one, have a bathroom. We've already decided that the bathroom will have a real function of a tub, toilet, and vanity, mirror, and whatever else goes with that. And outside, we want to put in something like an entertainment area where they can utilize it for kids in books and closets or TV watching. A combination.
A multi-purpose
entertainment
room,
area, basically. Right. And possibly a spare room may be utilized as a bedroom when people come over.
Study, bedroom,
yeah,
library.
Could be a two-fold, easy enough to do.
Exactly.
Maybe a drop-down bed, the old type that came in, or
you have one of those fake bookshelves that drops down. It's a Murphy bed, and then like a James Bond type of thing.
Dun, dun, dun.
Always thinking, Mike. That's why you pay me the big bucks to design your basements for you.
Oh, you know something? We know each other a long time. I can't complain with all the work we've done over the years. It's really fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It is.
People say, why do we need the architect, Mike? Always. So I'm doing a basement. What do I need the architect for? The builder says he can, draw me up 3 or 4 walls.
The builder can probably do the walls and the studs and the sheetrock and the insulation and the plumbing and electrical if he understands that. But where does he put the bookcase, and what are you going to do with the room? Who's going to sit down with the client and review all these type of products?
Right. So the small investment that
That's
you make.
That's number one.
Right.
And then number
That's
two,
right,
because it's you'll draw a little picture on the spot.
Oh, we have fun with that. The basements are a lot of fun. We actually, with American Design and Build, a little investment in design goes a long way.
Major.
And if you work just directly with a builder, sometimes they will have a designer working with them. Sometimes they won't. And you'll be paying for that service in either event, either in the project cost or up front. So it's better to pay for it up front a little bit independently with a design build team or an architect and get a better construction product and understand a little more about what you're actually going to receive as a finished product, where the builder might just say, here's a bedroom, here's a multi-purpose room, here's a bathroom. And
you know something, the spacing of all these things in the basement are very critical.
That's right.
I mean, just so people understand what I'm talking about, let's say you built the next phase of the project was the bedroom, and you don't know where to set the door. It seems like a simple question, but if you're planning on furniture and you're planning on positioning things in the room, that door is very important how it opens. It might open into a chair, it might open into a dresser.
That's right.
So you have to think out a little bit more than just throw me a door here.
And Mike, what we always think about here at American Design and Build and why you hire us is because we tell you to make that door at least 3 feet wide to anticipate handicapped accessibility in the future. It is on a ground level. We also ask people, for a $6,000 or $7,000 fee, a 1-story elevator could be installed in that basement if you're going to be using it in the future for in-laws or somebody who's going to wind up being somewhat physically impaired a little bit.
That almost sounds like exotic to the people.
It's not anymore.
But the reason is an architect would think that way, a builder wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. So you should, as an architect, and why you hire the architect and builder, is to get all of the options.
Big
so
deal.
if you're going to spend $30,000 on finishing your basement, 20 or 30, should you spend 35 and put an elevator in?
See, people have to also understand, you hire different trades for different things in the business. You get a plumber to do plumbing. You tell him where, and he'll take care of it for you.
That's right.
You get a carpenter, a framer, a builder who tells you where, he'll take care of it for you. But someone's got to sit down and lay this out proper that makes it most functional and get the best out of the space.
Well, that's what we're talking about. It's got to be a win-win. So with a design professional involved, you get the best product for the best dollar that you actually want, instead of getting a generic build-out of space, which is fine. Some people want that. But you'll be paying the same dollar amount for the same thing. So why not get what you want for that dollar instead of getting what somebody else wants?
There are so many examples that are going through my head right now where it makes such a big difference. It's very important to work with the trades that do each phase very well. You know what I'm saying? Let's go back to the basement, though. So we've got right now a bathroom, and now we have a sleeping quarters, and we have a great room.
Okay, let's explain to the folks first. The bathroom needs to be jackhammered into the slab of the foundation. So just so...
What do you mean?
When people, if you're doing a project and you're unaware of what's going to happen, you think, well, all my space is finished, down here.
Let's give them two choices. What can happen on these bathrooms?
That's right.
A lot of jobs you go to where the money becomes a problem, or no one's thinking ahead until afterwards. They'll actually hook up a basement with everything above the floor.
That's right.
And what that creates in reality is
It's
a
a
step,
step.
into the bathroom.
Again, not accessible
Not
for
a
the
very
folks.
nice 6-inch step. You're talking a 9-inch step, 9.5-inch step. Those are big steps, and you're taking up space in the basement.
So we have to
So
jackhammer.
go back to that jackhammer.
All right, we have to jackhammer. So American Design and Build likes to keep everything flush on the slab grade, so that this way, if you do have
He's cutting a hole into the floor, and it's submerging all this below ground.
That's right. Everything's going to get encapsulated back underneath the slab in the back part of the, wherever you're going to put this basement bathroom. And then you're going to have your ejector pump, which needs to be jackhammered into the slab and flushed out with the slab. And then a pipe coming out and connecting into your main drain. So all of that is
it can
done.
be done to make it look like a regular bathroom upstairs, not like a basement
That's
job.
right. You want it to
And
look.
that's what I'm talking
That's
about.
right. It has to. Whatever you produce in that basement has to look as if it is on the main floor of the house. People are creating spaces that they live in. They're down in those spaces as much as they are upstairs.
The people that are down there, you must really like a lot or love. Otherwise, you wouldn't invite them in your house. You might as well do the job right.
That's right. Going subterranean, Mike, is always good.
I've seen basement jobs. You swear you're on the second, third floor. They're amazing.
Well, this is what we're
It's just
talking
not worth
about.
it.
Nowadays, the basements also, besides the 3-foot door, we're talking about doing the bedroom now, is that bedroom must have an egress window, which people don't know about, and some builders don't inform
That's a very big
owners.
deal.
And
The fire
when you,
marshal.
right, you get in trouble then. Again, so this is why people say, do we need a building permit for our basement? Well, you can do whatever you want without the permit. The question comes when you go to sell or refinance your house, or if there's an accident of some sort and there's an insurance claim,
You're not going to get a sign off.
you're in trouble. So
You're
always
going to have to then correct it at the last moment. And if you think it's going to take 2-3 weeks or 2 months, they really don't want you to close that quick because you didn't follow rules. So up front, if you do it all and accumulate all your ideas, and that all your ideas have to get done basically at the same time. This can't be too many stages on the project because it's not that big an area, really. You know what I'm saying? And there are things that have to be done first.
This is a major one that people don't put in, and it's a $7,000 cost to put in an egress window and a code-compliant egress well for emergency access in and out of that bedroom in case of fire down there. And it's not added into the job, and then people get hit with that as an unseen extra that a builder will, into your job for $30,000, and everybody else was bidding 35 or 36, as our old friend Earl used to say, the low bidder.
There's a reason why.
There's a reason why, and the building inspector will either make you take the door off and remove the closet out of that bedroom. So
you have to remember one important thing. This is your house. Right. You're not doing a so-called project for Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Right. So we're just advising you accordingly as to what could happen out there on these types of small basement jobs that you do for $15,000 or $20,000, and they don't comply to any of the codes that are now in force. That later on down the road, you're going to spend that extra money putting everything back together.
Might as well enjoy it.
Right, enjoy it. You might as well get the expertise you need. So always, consult somebody when you're doing any sort of construction project on your home of that magnitude. Have a design professional come in and make sure that you're following some plans.
There's a lot of people involved in the basement that really works out well. There's a lot of different trades. Someone has to understand going into this up front, all the stages necessary. An architect, a good builder who understands the philosophy of how things are done in staging.
Right, and now these people have no access to this basement, most likely except through your house, the center of your house, and down a central staircase. And they're going to be working to do that basement. It could take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on what you're trying to accomplish down there. So again, the selection of the contractor and the design build team is very important because these people will be in and out of your house at 7 a.m. and they'll be leaving at 6 p.m. And they were using your front door, like coming in. All the material is going down through their sheetrock.
You have to figure, how to bring in sheetrock 4x8 pieces, which is not going to come down through the door.
Right.
It's not. Because
Right.
there's a ceiling problem, and you can't cut it in half. There's too many seams. Come on. You want to roll it in a ball?
We've cut it in half. We've had to cut it in half to get it down
There's
the L-shaped
always another
steps.
way to come into a basement.
So-
But that's, when you've done
How else will you go? You got to take windows out then and cut blocks
there's
out.
even other ways. You can come through the garage. There's other ways of coming.
Well, that's a second staircase, but most basements that we see are the ones that just have one central staircase from the center hall going down into the
By
basement.
setting up a second egress, you
That's
have
it.
another means of coming in.
Right, if you were cutting a window. So that's why when you do the egress well and the egress bay, that's where we bring the sheetrock in. Welcome back, folks, to the ABCs of Home Improvements here with Lee and Mike. Today we're going subterranean. We're talking about basements, Mike.
I know. I like the basement jobs. People are so happy when you leave these type of jobs that you have no idea.
It's excellent, Mike. We have a good time with
It is
that.
because when they have an extra bedroom for family, an extra bathroom so they can maintain their own space, an extra entrance to come in without being part of the so-called have to see them every moment of the time, they're very excited.
It
They
is.
really
It's
are.
nice. And it's a quiet area down there sometimes.
You have no idea. You don't hear anything upstairs at all. I mean, if you really know how to lay out the job and handle the ceiling work, the plumbing and the electrical and the heating. Yeah. We're just talking in a break right now, Lee and I, about humidity and dehumidifying and these type of jobs also.
That's right. It's very important that some of these basements may start out a little damp because they've never been used. They're underground. They haven't had the proper ventilation.
It's ventilation, really.
Ventilation or vapor barriers to contain things. So as you start doing your construction, you first would dry out the area, put down some heaters there a couple of weeks before the construction and get the place nice and dry. And then
Toasty.
you would, you have your choice of insulating or not. When you do the framing construction, and again, there's a lot of different ways to approach the basement wall cavity. How do we do that, Mike, right?
Well, you have to think about it, what you're using the room for. The
Well,
insulation factor you mentioned is number one.
That's right.
Number two, you might need some additional electrical.
Electrical. Well, we're talking like the components now of the wall. So let's say, most of these walls in the old days were made out of wood, but now a lot of the guys are using metal studs to frame out these basements.
I think that's fine.
right?
The
It's
only
a
time
new-
we ever change is because of other certain rooms in the basement. But doing the whole basement, metal studs
Most
are fine.
people are now using metal studs. It's a little cost effective. It's part of the green thing and
It is.
build out. And it also it goes a lot faster. It's a lot easier to put together. So if the time is an issue too, the construction could go a little faster with that type of framing.
Faster meaning it goes up pretty quick, but they're already pre-perforated. There's holes in them for the electrical and the plumbing to go through also.
Exactly. So there's no drilling. Exactly. There's no
Save you some time.
Save you some time on putting all the guts together. And then you're right, the insulation value. Do you want to insulate those walls or not? I suggest that you do because it is out on an outside exterior wall, and if it's an older building, you didn't have insulation, anything going on the outside, so those blocks are hollow, or the concrete is a solid concrete wall that stays at about 55 to 60 degrees, depending on the temperature.
57.
Right, that's it. So,
Steady.
so you may as well insulate it because you're going to heat those spaces to 75 or 80 degrees.
If you don't insulate and you heat, then the heat disappears again. That's why we had the insulation in the attic. That's why we had the insulation in the walls upstairs.
Right. So, and then the question comes: do you insulate the floor above? And what does that do? Do you need to insulate it to maintain the heat down on the lower level? Is the cavity or the airspace between enough? Or do you need it for sound? Sometimes for sound.
I would think
Mike,
so,
right?
mostly.
So the investment is very minimal, and we do like to insulate the ceilings of our finished basements. It just makes the room a little cozier. That's all, a little nicer sounding, as well as if you have a lot of
A
traffic.
little more soundproofing
Right,
also.
upstairs. So you get into that cavity, and you now have your specialty items again, just like in a regular house. Are you going to do cable TV? Are you going to do a home theater system, computer lines, T1 lines, all kinds of things, smart house information if you're going to be doing something in the future. You wire your basement at this point for all of those items because it's open now, and now is the time to think of any of those things. And again, at American Design and Build, Mike, we love to bring up all of those things.
See, I know you do because I've seen your detailed drawings. You show outlets. You show where we're putting everything at that point.
Yeah, it's and again, now you can get an exact count, a much more respectable bid from 3 or 4 contractors because you have fixture counts, locations,
You've
models.
counted outlets. You've
Right.
counted hi-hats. You've counted paddle fans. You've counted all these connections that you're planning on each room.
That's right, and this out now allows apples to
And when
apples.
people exactly, when
So-
people have been on the job, it's apples to apples.
So we enjoy that part of it, and again, that little bit that you invest up front on the design part, I just have to emphasize
That creates the visuality that you need to be able to see your thoughts on paper.
That's right, and it bridges the gap between the design and the build part. There's you need an instrument that will, even on these jobs that you consider small, but it's a $30,000-$40,000 investment. So it's not really small to most folks. So
It's a real investment.
right. So to have an architect involved on the designing of it is always important. So we're going to now pre-wire this thing and get all the guts in it. Now we have to look at our multimedia room and finish surfaces and ceilings. What do we do with the ceilings? Chase.
You got speakers going in.
Speaker wires, speakers, special supports.
Alarm systems.
Yeah,
if you
special
require
things. If you're going to
those
do
things.
a projection TV set, which we just finished doing in one of the houses, one drops out, from a chase in the ceiling. It's a low-profile unit, and the other one is suspended there, where you still need a special apparatus or special rigging. So before you do your construction or finished work on the ceilings, are you going to do anything up in the ceilings? Are you going to have any of this stuff in your media room? Are you thinking about doing it in the future? You'd like to at least have an area that's set aside for that projection system when you're going to do it.
It's important to do also when you build a section of a house. Try to get everything prepared, whether you're going to use the last item or not.
Right. Always think ahead of things you might not do for 3 years.
If you have cable TV in the rest of the house, run some cable connections. If you're not sure if you're going to run satellite connections, to run the extra wire now is not that much
That's
more.
what we tell people.
Right.
We run a smart wire, which has 6 different options on it, I guess you would say, of what you can hook into it. And this way, everything's in that location. And from there, you could branch off. But at least you have it in place, and it goes to a central location, wherever your central location is coming into the house. And now you can go from there and modify it into each of these smaller spaces. The bedrooms, obviously. So you may want one in your bathroom, Mike, So
you could, if you're opening up walls, you can do a lot of things. And because you started with a basement with open walls, the versatility is amazing. It
That's
really
right.
is.
That's right.
And because you do the versatility of making sure your bathroom equipment is all mounted below ground, cut out below ground. The electrical we haven't really spoke a lot with, except for locating it, because when it comes to adding panels and making sure you have enough power to handle all this, you also have someone come in for that.
That's correct. That's correct.
I mean, people have to have enough wattages, whatever you want to call it, to make sure they can cover the volts coming out.
That's right. That's right. Another thing that you should look at while you're doing this, Mike, is now is the opportunity, if you have these little 2x3 windows or 3x1 windows, or these small little basement windows. Is it time to put in some nicer, bigger windows?
Insulation-wise alone, you got to replace them.
So
As long as you're replacing them.
Do you want to make do you want to now have a bigger? You want to have more light in certain areas? So it's time to think about cutting open your concrete if you're looking to do a certain type of room down there. And what does that cost? People always ask, "Oh, we're thinking about doing a window or 2 or 3. How much does it actually cost per window, or approximately?" And if you look at a standard window, like a standard window, which would be a 3x4 window or something like that you would put in an egress window, and you had to cut out an opening in an existing wall somewhere and put in this egress bay, like we were talking about in the bedroom.
Right.
You don't need to do, if you have a bedroom down there that has that egress bay, you can do some other windows that don't need such an elaborate bay. Okay, so
Sure. You're overlapping
you
anyway.
have an opportunity to do some glass without spending all that extra money on the bays to come out, the walkout piece. So what do you do there? So the question is, what do they charge you? The units themselves on a standard window, say a Marvin or an Anderson basement window like that, could run anywhere from $600, $700 installed. Now you have to create, cut, opened, and installed in there. They run up to $1,500 depending on what type of unit you want, E-glass and so forth. Then you have to put a bay or an opening or well of some sort around there to hold the dirt back where you've dug down. Usually
You got
2
to
feet.
support the dirt from
Yeah.
falling.
So you have to, and an area to let some light in. They call that a light channel too. That's going to let light come back down. And those, if you do them just out of regular stone in your yard, maybe a few $100s. Just a mason to come from behind there and cement that. If you go with the special blocks, these Uniblocks or Teco block or any of these manufactured blocks, and you want to make a nice rectilinear well, square well with a cap on top of it, those could run anywhere just for that size window from $400 to $600 to make those, just because of the expense of the block and the labor concern. But it's a much better finished product if that's what you're looking for. And in between that, there's cement block. You can just do an 8-inch cement block, make it a U around the window, parge it, smooth on the inside there, and cap it with a piece of bluestone. And that's in between. That could be $200 or $300.
There's
something
choices
like that.
to be able to see.
Choices. They also have these prefabricated plastic wells that you can buy, again, for $300 or $400 that you can just backfill up against. Not the best looking, but they do the job.
It depends on location where these units
and what
are.
you want to do.
What side of the...
So
what's on the back
so
and the
one
side?
window, Mike, and a well could range anywhere from $1,000 to $2,400, depending on how you want to finish it. Just for one window.
That's
to go
also a
into basement.
safety feature in the job.
That's right, but it also
And
it
you have
works
to
for
have
egress.
something of that level, so that's got to be part of the job.
That's why you tell the people, you need one means of egress besides that staircase going out. And if you have a bedroom, it has to be from the bedroom.
Yes.
And so you're investing in your basement. This is part of the investment. If you don't hear it from your contractors out there when they're talking to you about doing the basements, just ask them
You're
that
not hearing
question.
the right thing, that's
Ask them the question. Okay, we're going to take a break. Give us a call here, 651-1110. ABC's of Home Improvements down in your basement, going subterranean.
We're back again, folks. This is Mike Ash again with the ABCs of Home Improvement. We've been working subterranean, basically in the basement, and utilizing additional living space that we never thought we had before.
Right, like we were talking, additional living space that costs the least to finish off out of everything, adding up,
You've been
adding
paying
out.
for it all these years
Right.
and never using it.
So if you're thinking about investing in your house at this point and saying, where's the best dollar spent, or where will you get the most for your dollar?
That's better.
It's in your basement, without having to do any work whatsoever to the upstairs and concerning yourself too much with change of
You
living.
can actually live in your house
Right.
during this whole
there
project.
we go. Change of living conditions. You can get a lot of square footage that way. So always something to look at and think about when you're looking to do a home
I
improvement.
can see people out there with the inheritance possibilities of bringing the in-laws into the house.
That's right. Or maybe your in-laws are moving out and you finally get that rec room and media room that you wanted down there.
Oh,
with.
that could be someone.
That's
interesting.
even better.
Yeah.
You ship them. Where do they go? They go to Montreal, or where do they go? Minneapolis.
Something with green mints on the pillow.
Oh, that's the cruise, the 70-day cruise.
You
They
got
signed on.
it. They're out.
All right. So basically, the process. We started off again. Selecting first, getting your ideas and designs down, and then going to the architect or design team. Selecting all your.
Who would you call for that?
You call Ghostbusters, Mike.
I know.
You
How about
call
American
Bill,
Home?
American Design and Build. Bill's seat is vacant there today. I don't know where he is, but he's in someone's basement finishing and supervising some living arrangements, I guess, for people, right? So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, right, you select and interview your contractors or builders that you're going to have. Then with the architect, you can select the contractor or use a design build company where the partnering works in your advantage there.
This way you both speak the same language.
That's right. And then prepare for construction. Like our old friend Earl Slick used to say, put on your hard hats and check the perimeter. Right? Oh, we got a call coming in. See that? We say Earl's name, and all of a sudden we get a phone call. Hello, caller.
Yes, hi.
How are you? Who are we talking to?
This is Monty, and I'm right here in Florida.
Hi,
Hey, Monty. How are you?
Good, good. Hi, Lee. Hi, Mike.
Listen, what do you do in Florida?
I'm an interior decorator.
Oh, so you were hearing our show on the basements.
I've been listening to your show for about 8, 10, 12 weeks now.
Very nice.
I think you guys are wonderful.
I'm glad it took this long for you to call, but I'm
Excellent.
glad you
We're
called.
glad you called because we're wondering, if we were going to have an interior designer call our show or not. We've had 12 or 13 shows, so this is our 13th show. So lucky 13, Monty.
Lucky 13.
Monty, are you on a job that we can help you with or any questions of that nature?
Yeah.
I've been listening to this basement show, and I'm going to finish my basement. I'm going to call you guys over, American
nice.
Design and Build, and all my questions are answered. I wanted to talk to you about the bathroom in the basement.
Oh, the bathroom. That's nice, Monty.
Monty, if you're going to work down there, live down there, and spend some time in the basement, I don't care if it's a hobby room. Having a bathroom in the basement is worth its weight in gold.
It is. We like to call it here on the ABCs of Home Improvement the full Monty. We like to call that the full Monty. You go for the 5 pieces.
My wife tells me I have a bathroom in my belfry, but I need a bathroom in my basement.
Yeah, you need to have that bathroom. We advise everybody about that. Monty, if you don't have a bathroom down there, it's like Mike says, there always seems to be extra steps when you're trying to get to that bathroom
going up,
upstairs.
There are coming down.
So maybe as an interior designer, you could help us out eliminating some of those steps. I don't know what. Maybe you could help us out with some selections on American Design and Build here.
Monty, how soon are you doing the project?
Yeah.
It's all about the colors, Lee.
I understand. I know that's what you.
We haven't even gotten to finished product at this point.
Yeah.
We're just trying to maintain the concept.
We're going to have our guest Sue on. Sue's my partner.
Oh,
and,
nice.
She'll do all about faux finishing, wallpapering, to die for, to die.
Oh, excellent,
That
excellent.
would be very nice to
and,
see.
and where does Sue do her work?
All over Orange County.
Orange County. Yeah, that's nice.
Does she work strictly for recommendations, or does she advertise?
Oh yeah.
Oh, she don't have to advertise. Because
That's,
your house.
you know what I'm
Forget
saying?
about it. The lining up.
I hear you, because we only deal with professionals on the with our type of
I
program.
like that there, Monty, because it's nice to know maybe when we get off the air, I don't know, or maybe I don't know if you want to give the number out on the air right away, but we'd like to take that number because I could always use a
We're
faux painter.
happy to talk to you.
We always like to work with people that know what they're doing and have a real professional view on the faux painting, as they say.
Well, I'll talk to you more off the air, but I just want to say what a wonderful show. You guys have answered all my questions about my basement. See, I'm going to put my mother-in-law down in my basement.
Oh,
And I'm going to
nice.
need a bathroom, a
Nice.
kitchen, a bedroom, and she's going to need some space.
Nice. Is she a massage therapist? Does she need a massage room?
No, she's too old for that. Stop.
I'm just checking, Monty. You never know. You sound like a young guy out there.
Monty, you're asking for something that's not so strange. Believe me, it's
Yeah,
a pretty
that's
common,
nice.
pretty common thing we get involved with.
All right, it's that time, and you have talked about this. It's wonderful. But,
Monty, I'm going to thank you. I'm going to have
Yeah, thanks, Monty.
I'll have Richie take your number, and we'll be right back to you then.
okay, Mike,
Yes, Rich. Yes, Monty.
I'm going to put a kitchen down there, kitchen cabinets, and more.
You've been
Nice.
listening, Monty. I can tell.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you,
Monty.
Monty.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Oh, it's nice to hear from somebody out there. Just starting to wonder if there was an interior designer in town, and I guess Monty's the man here in Florida. We'll have to introduce ourselves to
We'll
him.
find out about Monty.
That's nice. Yeah, so it's nice to hear from you, Monty. Always good, always great. Never knew that you were out there. Now that we know you're out there, we'll be looking for your call maybe once a week. Give us a few interior design tips.
We'll speak to more.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so. No, Mike,
Go
we
down
got
your
5
list
minutes
already.
left or
What's
so,
the
6
other-
minutes.
what's
Let's
the
talk
rest of the
about, we talked about the windows. We talked about now we come in, we sheetrock. Now we got the ceiling to deal with. Now there's a lot of ways to go about finishing off that
Good
ceiling.
choices, too, out there.
Right? What do we do with the ceiling? And again, budget,
Everybody thinks a basement has to be
the drop ceiling.
right.
Ah, come on, Mike. Come on. Not us at American Design and Build.
No, that's like a medical office to me.
That's
You know?
well, listen, it's a clean, finished, quick surface that you can install. You don't have to do too much. There's no chase work, basically. You just go at the lowest point, you snap a line if it's 7.6, 7.7, where you don't interfere, put the grid up, and snap together, drop the acoustical
There's some
ceiling.
very good choices out there,
Right.
too, though.
No, they're nice looking. They're nice looking. Sometimes the grid could even disappear. You don't see there's gridless systems, so you don't know that it's a suspended ceiling. More commercial applications have that you see in the stores. So that's always good. Then there's specialty ceilings. You have the specialty ceilings where you could go into raised panel wood, coffered wood, different types of wood
Are
beams.
all the tracks white?
No, like I said, some of them disappear. You don't see the tracks.
Really?
So you put these interlocking things, and the tracks are recessed, and the panel actually has a J that intersects and
wow.
hides the track. Right.
Oh,
so,
nice.
but so you still
I've never seen that.
There's square. There's still patterns to it, so you can still sort of understand that it is a
You
drop
must
ceiling.
get updated information on this stuff on a regular basis.
Well, some of the guys that you do commercial work for, besides
Yeah.
these residential things, request that type of look. They
So
don't
do
want to see the
commercial
grid
work.
either. People are tired of the grid, so to speak. So some people use it as an architectural element, the grid. Like the Pompidou Center, you accentuate the structure and make it stand out.
So we have choices on the ceiling.
We have some choices. Then the question becomes, based on those choices, what type of lighting can you do up there? Because certain lights only work with certain things. So depending on what type of ceiling you're putting together, your selection of lighting works with the ceiling material or the ceiling that you're going to put up there. If you're going to do a sheetrock ceiling, obviously, then you could run the gambit. If you're going to do a drop ceiling, you can do some recessed lighting or some fluorescent lighting, but you have a problem with height and the depth of the unit of each piece.
I can see the height of the unit being a problem.
Right. So
You want
always
to get as much ceiling height as you can.
always talk to your design team before you even start the process again as to what will my choices be of ceiling and what will the height be. Based on your choice, the height of the ceiling is going to vary. And you may be doing this beautiful room that's 20 by 20, but when you're done, you only have a 7-foot ceiling, which I've seen people ask me what they can do, and it's too late once it's there, except take it down and either remove some pipes or move some things so that you can get 6 inches or 7 inches more and put the ceiling back up again.
So much easier if you ask first.
Always ask first. And then it becomes an issue of what's acceptable. Some builders now in newer homes have left you the extra block course, which we talk about when we do additions for people and they want basements, to do an extra block course to make 8'8" underneath before you hit the joists, so that if there's pipe work in the way and so forth, that you can even drop in a dummy ceiling if you wanted to sheetrock at 8 feet and have plenty of space. You have 6 or 8 inches of chase up there
Big
to run
difference.
duct work, piping, exactly. So with new construction, it's okay. If you have a pre-existing space, Mike, then you're going to have an issue probably
what
with the
it is.
finished ceiling.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So the other alternative is obviously going through the expense of relocating some plumbing and so forth, push it to the perimeter. And that reminds me of Earl again, perimeter. And do that so that this way your center, you can have coffered on the edges a chase where it drops down to 6'6" all the way around by maybe 1 foot wide, and then push the center of the entire space up to 8 feet.
Make you modified trim.
Right, so you do something a little nicer. And again, this is where the design professional can help you out and indicate.
So the end product looks like it's really been
right,
thought.
like it's been there all the time.
Right.
You want to try and do that.
That covers ceilings. What else? What about flooring?
Now flooring, again, all kinds of crazy stuff with the flooring. And what do you do with the floor? Do you put a vapor barrier down first? Do you not? Do you put a wood subfloor down first or not? It all
I always
depends.
figure all these floors are not perfectly even.
Well, first of all, the floors aren't even. A lot of people.
Is there enough concrete down there to put a floor on that?
You can put a wood floor down. You can plywood and then a wood floor. You can just put the wood right down on the rosin paper, as it were. You can put a vapor barrier down. Most people just carpet and you put a pad down and carpet over the concrete. We always suggest to put a vapor barrier down first before all of that. Some do, some don't. The next step is if you're going to do something and you want you don't want the transmission, let's say, or the heat loss through the slab as much, they lay down plywood, which the wood then acts as an insulator.
That makes sense.
You put your vapor barrier down, you put down a 1/2 inch of plywood. If your floor is really out of level, this is your opportunity to level things up, shim it up, and then put your finished flooring over the top of that, which is always, an excellent thing. So that's the choices there. You can do some tile, you can do some stonework.
Is it worth putting radiant heat down there?
Radiant heat is a different story. We're going to save that for another show because I think we got a minute left, Mike.
Okay.
But yeah, it does sometimes pay, depending on the application and the height that you have.
Okay, I understand.
Okay? So
Everything you want takes up space.
everything takes up space, and inches or dollars down there, for the basement. So
I want people to remember basements are a really add-on living space you're paying for right now and not using.
that's right. So give us a call. We're going to sign off today. It's a pleasure speaking with you folks out there. As usual, me and Mike here. We'll have Bill next week, I'm sure.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Tune in next week to the ABCs of Home.